to the music examination. The hosts of the show are Zag, Ness, and Curtis, who will be discussing, debating, and dissecting classic rock and roll. Let the show begin.
Okay, we're ready to go again?
That's it.
Really? Okay.
Nah,
Okay.
let's just cancel.
Okay. All right, we're just going to...
Tell us what we got going on for today.
What is it? We're doing the why is a band so popular or what?
Big, popular.
Big, popular. You know, why they play. Yeah. Zach, go ahead. Gramps, go ahead.
Well, it's not just my decision, but I was just thinking, you know, how did a band get so big and why are they so big? Not that we hate them. Mm-hmm. You know, we could still like them, but how is a band getting as big as they are where they're playing stadiums, they're selling multiple nights?
Got it.
That you just don't get it. You don't see it. Because there's a lot of them.
Right. I think the thing we're missing right now, we forgot to mention, is this will probably be Kurt's last podcast with us. Last week, Kurt had sent us a text that says he had found some unwrapped cassette tapes in his possession, and he feels that he can turn these in millions of dollars, so he won't be needing this anymore. So this will probably be his last podcast once he sells those off.
On the flip side, unbeknownst to Kurt,
package.
I did a quick check on Amazon, and you can still go purchase blank cassette tapes on Amazon for like $12.
Oh, really?
So...
Damn.
One package, if you had like maybe a couple pallets of them.
Oh, okay.
But the one package, I don't even think you're going to get yourself a six.
What are you, Sony Records?
I got 3 packets. I found a third one. I found a third one.
No good anyway, because they've been sitting in the corner for 25 years.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Once you open them up, don't they deteriorate? They can't have that much of a long of a lifetime.
That's why they're mint in package.
He had them in his vault.
But you were just so excited. You just thought you were sitting on a
Kurt
pot
thought
of
he was a
gold. He
multimillionaire.
did. He thought, "Oh, I'm gonna blow this pop stand." You guys are suckers.
You guys are, and so far down the road now, I'm going to be
All
over.
right. Okay. All right. I just thought that this will be Kurt's last podcast, so let's be nice to him.
Right.
You want to start us off there, Kurt? Being this will be your last podcast there before you become a millionaire.
Yeah. Okay.
Jed Clampett.
So we're talking about why a band is so popular, like Dan Fogelberg when he used to.
Now that would be me and
He was
Mike's
never
little-
big.
yeah.
He never played a stadium. He never played a gymnasium, I don't think. For crying out loud.
He played.
I still can't name one song from
He
Dan
played like
Fogelberg.
Pine Knob and stuff like that. I think he
Pine
played
Knob.
Yeah.
But how many people?
Pine Knob. It was packed to the gills.
Okay, Kurt.
Because they thought somebody else was there.
Who's the band you don't get it that
Yeah.
is that big or they're that big?
I mean, well, who is it? I mean, obviously, one of them be probably like. Who you want to start with the Rolling Stones?
What?
What?
I don't know. We said that big. Why are they so big?
No, I mean, what we don't.
You don't
get.
understand
We don't
why-
understand
Oh,
why
oh.
they're so big.
Oh, we don't understand why.
well,
they're
good
so
thing
big.
this is your last podcast because you are not going out with a bang.
He missed the memo, didn't
He
he?
certainly did. Can we
you
turn
not
his
get the
mic
memo?
off?
I guess, yeah. Well,
Hey.
see, I was off.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead and start.
I'm going to
Good
start.
Lord,
Okay, I'm going to
man.
start. I'm going to explain.
Well, I was, okay.
I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
Speak slowly.
So,
Okay.
and I know a lot of people are going to disagree.
like why
but
is Bob Seger
and
so
that's
popular?
not that I dislike this band.
Okay.
But I don't get the Guns N' Roses thing. I mean, these guys have been touring for 10 years now.
On 2 albums, two
On
and a half
couple-
albums.
on 3 albums. I mean, you want to include Chinese Democracy, but I mean, really,
Actually,
what
No,
production
you know what?
do they merit that big of a fan base that they can sell these stadiums out? And I think it's starting to
I
come
get
down
you.
a little bit. But I love Slash. I think he's a great guitar player. I really like his solo stuff that he does with Miles Kennedy.
Yeah.
But I don't get the big Guns N' Roses selling out big stadiums, traveling,
I
touring
think
the
it-
country.
With nothing new.
I
Nothing.
think it started, or what helped out was Axl's.
Asshole attitude.
Yes. You know, I'm not going to come on. I don't know when I'm going to be on
I'm going
stage.
to come out at 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
The place
So
is
you
gonna
like
be,
to go to a concert and sit there for 5 hours and the band's late? I don't know how
I guess
like that.
people wanted to just.
I remember hearing people coming on the radio the next morning going, I had to call in sick because we didn't get out of there until 3 in the morning.
Well, his theory was,
They
I
were
can't go
pissed.
out there unless I'm in my own headspace and ready to go. It's like,
Right.
well, dude,
Yeah.
How it's funny you mentioned that because you remember now there's got all those union rules as far as like tearing down.
Well, you
and
notice
setting
he
up
doesn't
stadium.
do that
You
anymore.
can't.
They said
do
he's
that.
right on time now. He's totally taken a.
You could not do that.
He hasn't missed a show,
Yeah.
been late for a show.
Well, he needs a
since they
paycheck
went-
now.
Since they
He's
came
not.
back.
He's not the superstar he thinks he is.
So how is he getting his headspace in there that quick? And nothing against the guy.
Well, they basically probably
but
told him.
I don't know if that would have been the draw to make him that big. I just
It was part of it. It was just the.
I wouldn't apologize for it because you're right. He's only been like maybe 2 albums and a half. And you're right. He's been living on that thing for 30 years, and it just, I don't get it either. I mean, at one time it was huge, but it shouldn't be that huge now. They shouldn't be playing Ford Field, which they still could.
Yeah, it's just a question I've pondered, and like I said, I don't dislike them.
No.
I'm not a gigantic Guns N' Roses. I really like
Used to be,
Slash's
but
stuff
now
better.
it's like they kind of like,
But
whatever.
I still don't get the whole hype.
It's kind of a nostalgia show now. I mean, there's,
And not that I've heard they have any plans to do another album.
I don't think so because Slash is out doing, and even Duff's got his thing going.
Yeah, he's got his,
he's got stuff going. So I don't even know when they would be able to record an album.
Well,
that's a good pull.
Okay, Mike, who do you got?
See, now that was more nuanced and thought out than mine. Mine was just really simple. Is that every year, Comerica Park would maybe do 2-3 shows, and it'd be like the big hitters and stuff.
Yeah.
And every year it'd be flaming Dave Matthews. Help me, Lord, understand Dave Matthews. The guy's got he's really nice. He's got a horrible voice. He's got the big kind of pseudo Bruce Springsteen band. He's got a guy playing fiddle, and he's got all kinds of stuff going on there.
And then when he plays guitar, it's like up by his neck.
Oh my God!
You
And
ever
it's
notice
just a bunch of smelly hippie college kids going there. And I didn't get the music. I didn't understand how huge this was.
Right.
Yeah, and that would go along with the whole same thing with like Fish. Same thing.
Yeah, Fish. Yeah.
Have you heard a Fish song?
No,
Good name.
Wow.
Good name.
No.
They're going to go play that thing in Vegas, the Sphere. They're going to do the Sphere.
They must be
Fishes?
this generation's version of Yes or something because I just did not get them. It's like,
And what's the band from Canada?
Rush?
Triumph? Mahogany
April
Rush?
Lee Aaron.
Is Lee
Bachman Turner Overdrive?
the
Anvil.
the jam band that
Coney Hatch.
Jam band
Triumph.
from Canada?
Glass Tiger. Chilliwack. Bryan Adams. Celine Dion.
We haven't hit it yet, eh?
Tragically Hip.
Tragically Hip.
No, they're another band that
Oh, I
just
can't stand Gordon Johnny's voice.
Tragic.
He's got a really
God rest his
whiny.
soul.
Oh yeah, I don't like
God
his
rest
voice
his
either.
soul.
I don't. But he's just
I can handle it, but the Tragically Hip weren't huge. They were only big
In
in
Canada.
Canada.
Oh, they
and
were
in
huge
Michigan,
in
really.
Canada.
They were huge in Canada, but they weren't in the United States.
I see.
They were big in Michigan.
Well, I go
and
to-
the only time they're
I
big,
go to
yeah,
Canada.
because everybody from Windsor would come over because they couldn't get
Right.
tickets
Yeah.
over in Canada.
Right.
But I wouldn't. I wouldn't think.
No,
they were
but I mean,
huge. But
yeah,
they weren't a jam band, though.
They're,
were they?
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Well,
they
no,
they
they
weren't.
just-
They extended.
They had a couple good
Yeah,
songs.
yeah.
Blow High Dough or whatever it was called. That's a good tune.
Yeah, it
But
just.
it was like, why? I mean, that was a band, another
But
band.
that,
that's
yeah,
just like,
you got to ask a Canadian about that because I don't
Right.
get that
Took
either.
us a while to get
I'll
there.
call my
but
cousins.
found them.
Yeah,
I'll
we
call my
had to go
cousins
through
and
pretty
see.
much all the Canadian bands we knew. You know.
yeah. You forgot Triumph.
April
April Wine. You
But
forgot
he
that.
said Triumph.
I
He
said
said
Triumph.
Triumph.
Did you say
didn't-
I said Triumph.
You say April
I
Wine?
will never not
Party?
include Triumph in a Canadian talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Rush Triumph, April Wine,
Okay.
Frank Marino.
Coney Hatch.
Hey, Coney Hatch, Devil on Your Deck. Ooh, Helix, heavy
Helix,
metal
that's right,
love.
yes.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. That was good. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're getting off track.
We certainly are.
So now,
All
do you,
right.
are you seeing where we're going, Kurt?
Yeah.
Do you have any?
I think
or was
so.
Hip Sway?
You know what?
Not Hip Sway. Tragically Hip.
Didn't we have this discussion a couple podcasts
did.
ago too? Where
We
he
did.
Oh, with the whole
We did.
we were picking songs. He picked a whole album.
Right.
He's,
Right.
I think we got to knock him down the remedial
We got to get a
class.
chalkboard or a dry
Yeah, he
erase
just-
board and
yeah,
draw
he
pictures.
needs-
For
He
Kurt.
needs the special classes here.
The band that I am going to mention is Metallica. Because they really,
Okay.
because really, they had the Black Album, which is supposed to be kind of a thing to Cliff. Then they came out with Injustice for All. and they weren't really even playing heavy metal at that point. They were playing, they
What were
weren't
they
really
playing? Bluegrass?
pop music.
Pop music?
I want to see Kurt finish his
like-
thought here.
like you
'cause
go- like you have
I
massive-
can get
you
to
have-
where he's at, but I just want to see where he's going to go.
Yeah,
with
you have
this.
Masters of Puppets. And then a couple albums later, you have Injustice for All, and it's almost like they're doing this ballad,
It's
like Enter Sandman
Well,
type
right,
scenario.
right,
It's a
yeah.
slower, type.
Yeah, but have you considered maybe they kind of alienated some of their hardcore fans by doing that, and then
Well, that's what Green Day did.
brought in another group, and now when they tour, you got both groups coming. Maybe it was a marketing thought
could have been, yeah,
that
yeah. I understand.
kind of like Kiss doing the Dynasty album with the disco song. They hardcore fans got pissed off, but it brought in that's their number one streamed song.
Yeah,
it did. But the rest of the album is really good, so I let that slide.
Yeah.
If the whole album would have been like that, I'd have been pissed off.
Should we move on to The
let's-
Elder then?
Huh?
Should we move on to The Elder then?
This is not the Kiss.
What were they
one.
trying to attract?
Yeah, the
they
Elder
were-
was-
they-
But I guess you can go to every
We
band.
could do a Kiss
every-
podcast, and we could
should do
discuss
that.
the Elder, what they thought that was going to be.
But
a
I think
concept album, like a
I
Pink
think one
Floyd,
thing
but-
about Metallica, and I don't disagree with you, that they are bigger.
No,
than-
I'm kind of with
but-
him. I just
but,
want to hear him finish his thought. What
I
he
think
thought about
I think
that.
they got a great marketing department. Like
Yeah.
they got a.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these bands are big. These guys are big corporations now.
Yeah.
And I just think they're really good at number one promoting. The marketing is good. I mean, some of the stuff they've done is kind of ingenious. What band's going to go out and not play the same set every night?
Yeah, no, that was played back to back in Michigan,
And playing back-to-back shows in places.
Yeah, and they don't play the same song twice. No, yeah, that's
Or who introduced the Snake Pit, which is basically a pit that's right in the middle of the stage where it goes around. They got the two ego ramps
Right.
that
Oh,
come
yeah.
to a point, and they got the hardcore fans right in the middle. So you're like right between the drummer and the guys in front singing. How cool is
And
that?
they've got some real staple
Yeah.
tunes, identifiable tunes that you hear at sporting events. The bells, that's coming
that's
on.
the same with Guns N' Roses too. They got
Paradise City or whatever, the guitar lick.
November
But-
Rain.
but-
No, but he's saying
Metallica's-
like he's just saying like at the stadiums and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
your-
Metallica's put out way more
Like
material
Hell's
than
Bells.
Guns N'
Oh,
Roses.
Metallica stuff,
Yeah,
the Bell-
they've been still putting out albums
Yeah.
where
No, but Metallica's they got some songs that sporting events use.
oh yeah, the
TV uses
Yeah.
it. More than Guns N' Roses stuff. But I just think they got a good marketing department.
Because it's weird because they were just basically a bunch of snot-nosed guys from San Francisco that, moved down to L.A. And then they came in. They were in with Megadeth and Slayer and all them guys right there. But somehow it got bigger. Now, to go out the marketing, I think maybe the smart thing, too, was they got on some really good tours. Because we saw them open for Ozzy during the Ultimate Sin tour.
Yeah.
And they got on some, really good tours. I think they played with Guns N' Roses and stuff. So they got on some really good tunes. So they
can't deny
they got their
they
face
did-
in front of a lot of people
Oh, yeah, they
that
did the
kind of
Monsters of
listen.
Rock.
They don't listen to thrash so much, but they do listen to rock and roll. So they're going, hey, these guys are kind of cool.
But you can't
too.
deny they didn't put the work in because
No,
they
yeah,
did
no,
their,
no.
they did their time
You're
doing
right, they-
small little clubs and
But I'm just
traveling
saying,
vans.
to your point too, there was a marketing, and they really got on some really good
Yeah.
tours too. Whereas, say, like the Slayers never really got to that level, or the Anthrax never really got to that level.
Right.
Although the Anthrax and those guys still had the same amount of, the same kind of music.
yeah.
Obviously, Metallica grew a little bit more than a lot of these bands. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Megadeth's kind of the same thing. But Megadeth always kind of want to be out there. Megadeth never got as huge as Megadeth, or Megadeth never got as huge as Metallica. But yeah. Dave Mustaine's still making some money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got his little wine collection there.
Yes,
You ever see that? He's got wines and stuff. He's got his
Yeah,
own
I've seen
vineyard
it.
and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But he's got
Yeah.
he's got the names of the wines are like for the song titles. Like he's got one for Holy Wars, Elysian Fields. I think that's cool.
I think his wife runs it.
Yeah, and his daughter.
His daughter,
Yeah.
his wife and daughter.
All right,
yeah.
anyway, enough about Dave Mustaine's wines.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna.
No,
agree.
that was really good.
Okay, I got one. I got one that I really. This band I don't like at all,
Okay.
and they're not really. I wouldn't say they rock, but I still don't understand the excitement, and that's Coldplay. I don't get that at all.
Whiny Englishmen.
They can play stadiums. They sell out. They're the biggest tour of the year when they go out. And I just don't get it. What is it? Did you ever see the guy too? He kind of, what's his name?
Chris Martin.
Chris.
And the only reason why I know that because
dance?
he used to date or marry Gwyneth Paltrow or something.
married-
Yeah,
he was
she
married to
left
Gwen
him. 'cause
Paltrow.
she didn't like him.
because she didn't know who he was.
She didn't like him either.
She even hated his music.
You dance really funny. He
got the Elaine dance.
He's got that weird, and their music. I don't get it. I just don't get the popularity.
It just yeah.
I
I'm
get
with
Taylor
ya.
Swift more than I get the Coldplay.
Yeah, it's just kind of whiny little. Shut up.
But what is it?
I don't know.
People like whiny?
It's pop. It's English pop. It's
it
that's the same people that gave us One Direction and all these other.
Yeah, but they've maintained it.
Yeah.
They've been big. They tour every time they tour. And for the past 10 years, they sell out stadiums.
Again, this is why we're doing this. It's
How do
like-
they maintain it? I mean,
th-
and I don't compare their marketing to Mattel. Maybe I'm just not a big enough fan. I don't know.
No, it's
don't
again,
know.
it's the whole Dave Matthews thing too. Dave Matthews wasn't really marketed that hard.
No.
They just played a lot of college radio and the Stoners or
He
whatever.
kind of falls into the. See, a lot of these guys are trying to follow the Jimmy Buffett model. I think they try to get those. Does Dave Matthews have you got the Deadheads? That's another one, the Grateful Dead. I don't get that. They go along with Fish, but they get the Deadheads. Sammy's got the redheads or what he tried.
Red Rockers.
Really?
Yeah, he's got.
Sammy's got that. Okay.
Redhead. What does he call them? Redheads, I think.
I don't know.
He tried the Jimmy Buffett model to some extent, and
Kenny Chesney.
Yeah.
What a huge Buffett ripoff.
that's another one.
Yeah.
But Dave Matthews, I don't get it either. I don't know.
Well,
Are there Matthews followers?
They always say that. Yeah, he puts on a great live show. And it's like.
I don't get it.
I don't. Yeah, I've watched a few of the stuff on TV or whatever.
we're talking about who now?
Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, they're just playing their instruments. Nothing's really happening.
Yeah, and they're just his voice annoys the shit out of me, but that's probably a different reason why. I just don't get why the guys fill in Comerica Park and some of these other guys are like they can't or won't. Maybe they could if they wanted to. But
Coldplay would do 2 nights at Comerica.
Possibly,
They're huge.
It's something to do with probably from day one when they put
And
that
again,
first album
that's
out.
the reason for this podcast. We can't explain it because we're just sitting there banging our heads against the wall going, I just don't
And then
get
he
it.
went on Howard Stern not long ago and admitted that they don't even. Some of the stuff they're playing in concerts are tracks. The backup vocals aren't real. They admitted it.
Oh, for Coldplay?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
They're not even good enough to sing their own songs.
How would Coldplay get on Howard Stern? Is he that?
He had him on
is he
there.
hurting
It
that
was
bad?
kind of. It made the news because Coldplay said he asked them to play a song and they wouldn't play it because they said they couldn't do the background vocals.
No shit.
They didn't have their tape with them.
If Howard's getting those guys, we could go on Howard
Howard's
Stern.
soft now.
Could we get on Howard Stern?
We might.
All right.
Why don't you check into it, Kurt?
All right, I'll have to look into it.
Okay.
Give him a
All
call.
right, Mike. What do you got?
I got. This is probably divisive, but maybe not. Nirvana. I
agree.
know they single-handedly destroyed hair metal and stuff, but I didn't get the old man torn sweater staring at the ground, unwashed hair,
I just
left-handed guitar playing, barefoot bass
again,
playing.
it's not a
and just
band I
kinda
dislike.
It's just I just didn't get it.
They came along.
Alice in Chains just smoked them when it came to the music coming out of the grunge scene, but Nirvana wasn't one everybody hung their hat on.
But they were the first one, kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
And they come out with that, for some reason that album Smell Like Teen Spirit or whatever, that just
That started the
it
whole thing.
resonated for something. I don't know. I know a lot people were getting.
well, it was more anti heavy metal. It was more of a smack in the face of Poison, the guy with the hair nets and the mascara and stuff. These guys came out looking like they were waiting for a bus. And I just the music was some of it listenable, but a lot was like kind of whiny. It's like, ugh.
Depressing.
Screaming on
I thought it was kind of depressing.
Really depressing. Yeah, there's a reason why the guy put a gun to his head.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah,
Get your whole head in front of the shotgun.
I never got the Nirvana excitement.
No,
A couple
but
good songs, but if you really listen to again their other songs on their albums, they're not that good.
Okay.
Well, then he started getting a little bit, lippy and stuff. He wore a T-shirt on Rolling Stone magazines and corporate rock magazines suck, and he just go away.
He was trouble.
Didn't have to kill himself, but he
was
just
trouble.
go away.
I like the Foo Fighters better.
Now there you go, Dave Grohl. That's funny because that band was so out there doing one thing, and Dave became so mainstream rock and roll.
I know.
It was great. Dave Grohl should have been.
I mean, when Nirvana was around, was you ever thought Dave Grohl liked Rush?
No, you just see this guy in the back
Yeah,
pounding his drums and his hair just flipping him up. But what Dave Grohl's become was just incredible. Which lead me to believe you think about that. You go, I wonder all along he thought about that. It's like, I'm just kind of doing this for a paycheck until something better comes along, because he really seems comfortable where he's at now. He doesn't seem forced.
No, he's really.
Yeah,
seems
and he's
like
playing
he's
guitar.
Who knows what would have happened?
It
with
kind of
Nirvana,
seems like
too.
this is kind of where he needed to be. Nirvana was a vehicle for him to get to where he really wanted to do his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he writes most of the crap.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Foo
And I don't know
Fighters.
how much Nirvana, because I don't pay attention to Nirvana's songs and stuff, to know that if he wrote any of those songs.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I don't know.
Huh.
I didn't.
I just, and again, I just didn't get it.
No.
The voice of, it's yikes. Anyway.
Kurt, what's another one you got? You got another one or can't get there?
Well, no, actually,
Dan Fogelberg?
no. No, the one thing I probably would probably more of an annoying. I don't know why. I mean, annoying was the whole thing with Phil Collins and even Genesis. It was like, dude, go away. Take a break.
Now, are we talking about like Genesis pre-pop before they made money? Like the Lamb Lights down on Broadway, or like the
80s.
Abacab?
When it kind of became, and then it was like.
Then he did a solo album, which is even more annoying.
Right.
He saw his
And then
fat head. It was just,
You got to kind of put the Genesis and Phil Collins solo career together.
Yeah.
Because they were both very annoying to me.
Oh, yeah, like I said,
Like if I'm driving
album.
now and a Genesis song comes on, I generally change the channel.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's some of the earlier very progressive stuff, I don't mind some of that stuff. Like Then There Were Three and stuff like
They
that.
won't play that on the radio.
No, but
I do have a soft spot for Home by the Sea.
yes, that's a good song.
That
That
song
song,
really cool.
that song,
I love
Yes,
that
that's
song.
got a nice
that
bass
song
line.
is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I do it.
But the one where it does the real sparse drum, goes boom, 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 boom. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That
I know,
drives
yeah.
me
Can't
nuts.
take, and I don't
Yeah,
like.
but Home by the Sea is a boom. It's got a nice little
bass line.
It actually sounds
and
like
I
a
don't
rock
like
song.
Abacab. What number one? What is Abacab?
You want to tell them that?
I
It's
forgot.
the notes. It's the
Yes.
actual A, B, C. It's the notes that the song's written in.
Okay, but what's the song about?
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Genesis.
Well, you're ever there, Abacab. Just that song. It doesn't make.
But it was like for a
I'm in the
while
mood
there.
for a melody. I'm in the mood.
It's another genius written song there. You don't even need AI for that one. Jesus.
No, it's like, but no, he did. It was like they do an Genesis album tour, then he would go in and record a solo album tour, and
As
then it would
bad as
follow
the
up.
last album.
Yeah, and then it was
Genesis
like, it was like, Mike.
You know who had a really cool solo career out of that was Mike and the Mechanics. I really enjoyed
Yes.
their stuff 'cause it
Oh,
was
yeah,
so
yeah,
non-Genesis. It was
Right.
so kind of
I can
pop.
listen to him
Yes.
before Phil.
You know,
And
yeah.
he had who was the singer?
Paul Young.
Yes, Paul Young.
And then he
was-
also had Paul Carrick
Yeah,
on
Paul
one of them
Carrick,
too
yeah.
there for a while
Yeah,
there too.
so I
It's
mean, so they had
really good songs.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Mike Mechanic
Yeah.
stuff, but the Phil Collins solo stuff. After a while, it's like, dude,
Just shut
It
up.
was,
You're
and it
right.
came-
He was
and
everywhere.
it seemed like they came out every day.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like he had a
It
new
was-
album.
it was just
out
a
all the
revolving-
time. It was like
it
every
was-
time you look, there's a new
Right.
album and a new video on MTV.
Yeah, it was
With
like a revolving
And in
thing.
every
It was
one
like-
of his albums, it's his head. Who designed his album covers? It's just freaking melon on his every album
That's
cover.
funny you say
One of
that.
them's got a shade of red over it. The
did-
other one's gray.
It did
His head.
seem like all of his albums had his fat head.
I mean, didn't somebody
like we were talking earlier about Ray Charles always had a picture of his face on the cover,
Right.
with the sunglasses on.
Didn't anybody ever say, "You're not good looking, Phil"? I mean, it was his saying, "Put my head on, put my face on there, just get as close as you can, but get the whole head in."
Yeah,
Get the whole head. Get my big fat head in. I don't care anymore.
In fact, I'm going to look it up. Who designed his album? I wonder if it's the same guy.
No mo.
Probably is.
No mo.
No, Mo.
Yeah,
No, Mo.
then when they were doing the
Because I don't remember. He says that about 100 times in that song. Was that the one with the video? He was driving in the back of a limousine with in a
Yes,
hot
but that
tub
was
or
kind of cool because
something?
you saw like New York and Tokyo.
Didn't
and
make the
Paris.
song any better.
No, you just turn the song out. You mute it. It's a nice visual travelogue, but you don't want to see. Yeah, you don't hear him sing. Shut up. Yeah, hit mute. You know.
And then, of course, the classic drum in,
That's it.
in,
That's
in the air
talking
tonight.
to.
Oh yeah. When I first heard that song, I'm like, God, this fucking thing blows. I hated it from the get go. But
That's a signature
It's
drum
big-
roll
yeah.
that is
Well,
going to live on forever.
They were playing it live all of a sudden on the radio, and you could hear the crowd going crazy in the background, going, "Why? Why?" And then he did they did the AIDS thing. They had the show in London and New York.
Oh yeah,
Oh, he had to be in both of them. I remember that too.
Then he toured with Clapton on. He did. 'Cause I saw that tour. I went, and he played drums for Clapton.
Yep.
He couldn't get rid of
Clapton
it.
tour would that have been?
Ooh,
Was that
man.
that wasn't
I don't remember. All I remember is I sat kind of side stage, and Phil Collins did the side stage drum setup. And when he got done playing, his ass was soaked. I remember him standing up, and his ass was all wet. We were laughing.
Of all the things I remember,
it was,
not Eric Clapton's.
It was the one with
it wasn't the
I get
I
back
can't
to
think
me.
of the song.
That's okay. Get back to me.
okay.
Yeah, it was Pilgrim or something like that. Or not, is it Pilgrim or one of those albums?
Yeah.
His poppy days.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Oh, I think it's my turn.
Yeah, because
Actually, that was a good album. Who's next?
that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Jethro Tull. At one time, Jethro Tull was
Cross-eyed Mary.
I'm not saying he was a stadium show, but
Yeah.
in the 70s, Jethro Tull would sell out.
Oh yeah, no, he
Dude,
did.
remember going through high school? We walked the hall, so there'd be at least 3 or 4 people have a tall T-shirt on, and I'd go, "What the hell is this?"
Tull's coming to
And
town.
I'd sit there trying to listen to it, and I'm going, "Okay, snot running down his nose." Okay,
Now again, complex
Intense.
music. I get the musicianship and all that. I don't get the he's been around a long, and they've been around a long time, and they're still touring.
you ever see him live?
Yeah, I know. When my brother-in-law went to see him, he said, "Yeah, it was like boring."
Really?
Oh yeah. And he
I'm
went
sure-
just to kind of see. I think he got free tickets, but he goes, "I just was interested to see what the show's going to be like." And he goes, "It's kind of like an Eagles concert.
Okay.
Just nothing going on except his funky dancing around." And I think he's getting older. He doesn't even do that much anymore.
Probably, yeah,
but,
I'm sure.
And I'm not saying that there's a couple tall songs I can listen to, but I
Thick
don't
as a
get
brick.
the whole.
How about thick as a brick?
Who goes out and gets?
Gives a brick.
Yeah. Who goes out and has all the
Bungo in the Jungle?
Who's got the tall catalog, man? There's someone out. There's people out there.
Oh yeah,
that
I'm
got
sure
every
they probably.
album. You know?
That's scary, isn't it?
I think
Well,
Joe.
Kurt and I
I
had-
think Joe might have some.
We had kind of some experience, and this is, I guess, this dovetails into that. It was more of a concert thing than anything else, but we had seen. I'm sure we've spoken about this in previous podcasts. But we went and seen Toto and Yes at Freedom Hill.
No.
And,
Oh yeah, it's a free.
and we saw till Toto opened up, which is great. Toto had a fantastic show, great show. So we've already, we're ready to leave. We can go.
Yeah.
And it says, you know what? Let's hang out. Let's listen to Yes. Let me try to figure out why I can't get these guys. Even though they weren't super huge, but people just love the shit out of these guys. I couldn't figure it out. So, okay. So I will sit there. And the first song was Save the Whale, something. Okay. And again, Chris Squire's already died, and John Anderson's not singing.
Right.
He did have Steve Howe.
Steve Howe was.
Who looks dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trevor Raven wasn't in the band, was he?
No.
A bunch of Alan White was still in the band on drums. But
yeah,
I think that was it.
Yeah, I think.
But and we sat there and I'm going, okay, so let's break it down. I'm trying like hell. It's like, it's like algebra in high school. You're trying to figure out what the hell this makes sense and you can't.
Yeah.
So I say, maybe it's a guitar player. No, that's not it. He's a guitar player. It's kind of, Maybe it's the lyrics. No, the lyrics are just too dopey for me. I can't figure that out unless I had, a bunch of Quaaludes. And quit the bass line. Like, okay, I can see that, but I'm thinking, I just don't get this. I walked on. I gave it a chance. I watched the whole show of Yes.
Oh, you
we watched the whole thing.
show?
I was forcing myself to try to figure out what the hell was going on.
Did they play the 80s stuff, the pop stuff?
Yeah, they mixed a little bit, but they did a little bit of,
They did that?
but they were playing a lot of the old stuff too. Well, that stuff I got. I like that when Trevor Rabin was in the band.
Yeah.
Because they were more straightforward, more linear.
But I
as far
think it
as their
alienated
song.
their big fans. The ones
It did.
Yeah, they don't.
Because it
they don't like
wasn't
that.
so. It's kind of like when Rush, like when Spirit of Radio, or Permanent Waves, kind of broke away from Hemispheres and all those tracks that were like half a side and stuff. A lot of probably old Rush fans probably hated that, but that's kind of where we all jumped on board. Well, that's where I jumped on board. But I mean, for Yes, that's kind of where I jumped on, was right after that too. But after that, they were playing some of the old stuff. I just couldn't. And I'd U2 some stuff, with Rick Wakeman and stuff, Tomato Tour and stuff, the In and Around stuff.
Yeah.
Good God, can't figure it out. I really can't. Again, it was like 7th grade algebra. I just couldn't figure it out. I just scratched my hand going, shit.
Yeah.
So...
I see.
And I'm sure there's going to be more of these, but looks like now here we got the 2-minute warning there as far as wrapping us up. Anything last minute one hitters real quick? Again, if you got enough, we could probably do this again.
On my list, I did have Grateful Dead, but we kind of touched
on that with the fish, right?
And the Grateful Dead's still going. I think there's a version of it out there.
The Dead and Company, but
Something like that.
Oh, John Mayer's the guitar player in there.
Oh, really?
Grateful Dead?
Yeah, and the Dead and Company is John
You
Mayer.
know what? He's actually not a bad guitar player.
Yeah, he's the
He spent more times being kind of a jerk and stuff, and with
I think
his
Johnny
famous
Van Mayer.
girlfriends and stuff. But he actually can play guitar.
Johnny Van Mayer.
Huh?
Johnny Van Mayer.
Johnny Van Mayer.
Eddie Van Halen, Johnny Van Mayer.
Yeah. Well, he's good. All right. All right, keep laughing.
No,
You know, I couldn't get rhythm core. That's it.
Nobody knows who the rhythm core
Yeah,
is.
these Detroit, old Detroit rockers would know rhythm core and harp. Zag loved these guys, and I couldn't figure their ass out either.
Every time I run, I
They
fall
should have
down.
made it, man. They should have made it. That wasn't them. That was Toby
Oh,
Red.
that's right. So
was
Red.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
that was
on,
Toby
Kurt.
Red.
That's the wrong band.
No, you're Detroit rocker.
And who was in Toby Red, and where's he at now?
Chad
laughing
Smith,
at you?
the drummer.
Chad
Chad
Smith.
Smith.
He's a drummer of Chili Peppers. So
Rhythm- what
who's
would-
laughing now every time I run?
Hey, if you go on YouTube, there's actually like kind of a reunion concert with Chad Smith.
Yeah,
and
he
the
played,
original
at,
guy.
he played at the old New York.
That's great.
He still comes to town
I
and
saw
does
that
stuff with
a
him,
couple
yeah.
months ago. I'm going, that's cool.
He knows where he
There's
got
a lot
his
of those
start.
guys, they make so much money. He goes, I can remember my old bandmates, but he
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
Good for him.
In fact, they just I saw they was at a record store. They came out. They re-released their vinyl album. The one with that song on it. They reprinted it and came out with it again. So there you go.
With an expanded edition or something like that, with like live
And
tracks.
Rhythm
or something?
Corps, they still do their every bi-yearly show.
Okay.
Where do
here.
they play? Where do they play now?
St. Andrews.
Mike's
Royal Oak.
Mike's barbecue, his yearly
play at the Royal
street
Oak.
party. Yeah. Next year it'll be
What was
the
Rhythm
Mitchell
Corps?
brothers and Toby Red.
What's that?
What was
Next year,
what song did they have? They had a song, didn't they?
Oh, they had many songs.
Well, I know they had many songs, but what
The
was
big one was the one that was national. Was Common Ground.
that's the one.
Can we meet
Okay.
on Common
That sounds like
Good
a
tune.
whiny little
Good
shit
tune.
song.
And then they had Satellites, and their first hit that got them kind of on local radio was Broken Halos. Good tune. Look it up, people.
I think-
Rhythm Corps, Broken Halos, Common Ground, which is their big hit,
Yeah,
and
it was a
then
big-
and they
I
were
remember,
on
yes, I
major
remember.
label. They were on Epic.
Really?
And Satellites, and the other one was they had another good tune. Can't think of it off the top of my head right now.
Well, I threw you a
What about
being
curveball.
under pressure?
What about,
Yeah,
what
I did.
about
I tell you.
Seduce too? Seduce was another band.
Don't make fun of Seduce.
No, I'm not making fun
you
of
gonna
them.
rip on Seduce?
Chopping Block.
Ooh,
I'm chopping.
ooh,
No, I'm not making fun of Seduce.
Viper's Bite. Or no.
Bittersweet Alley. How about
In fact,
Bittersweet Alley?
I'll pull up my.
BSA?
I will
Scout
pull out.
BSA.
I will pull up my phone right now, and I've got when last time I went to Harpo's and saw Seduce. I got about 4 or 5 videos on there. I got Viper's Bite on there. Go ahead, make fun of Seduce.
No,
I'll
I'm not
play-
making fun of
You
them.
know what? I can
No, I'm
Empty
just
play
making-
Hands.
Huh?
Empty Hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, we got to wrap this thing up. We can't talk. You know, that'll be a good podcast, Detroit Rock, but no one will listen to it except for
Nah, because
4 of us.
people need to know these Detroit rock bands
They
that
do.
that missed because
Right.
whatever.
They need-
the
they
Rockets.
need to know Adrenaline.
Rockets.
Adrenaline actually
Yeah,
they did
BSA.
they did
Madam
the,
X. King George.
The album
Banamex
for
still
Ivory
plays.
Tower.
yes,
Salem Witchcraft.
Ivory
Yes, it
Tower
is.
was a
Yeah.
bar band.
Holy smoke. All right, anyway.
The Curl Danny Project.
The COP.
We gotta wrap it up.
COP.
Wrap it up. Oh my God, I'm having a cerebral hemorrhage right now laughing.
COP.
Say goodbye, Kurt. Oh God, we're off the rails, man. I don't think Kurt can sign off. All right. I'm off, Kurt.
All right.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. Try to end somehow.
All right.
COP.
Let me get t-shirts.
All right, breathe.
Sorry, people.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're just.
We lost it.
Yeah, we. Oh my lord! I just. Wow.
Oh, I can't even see my eyes. Okay, Kurt, sign it off, man. All right, get out of here.
I need a cigarette.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you want to make a comment, you can make a comment on the YouTube page, our YouTube page, or you can email us at the musicexamination@gmail.com. And
www.cop.
Get your vaccination. All right. Okay.
and this podcast was recorded and engineered at Frederickson Studio. And that's about it. What I got to say right now. So
we're pretty much wiped out here.
all right, and
Stay strong,
check-
stay metal.
okay.
You can't leave now. Who's gonna water the plants?